we're only missing James Chafin to have our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a quorum except for recusals, and James, I believe, is tuning in. He said he had the link, so everybody else is going to be out. Let me check with him because he had texted me. Maybe I'll send it to him again as well. Hey, Elizabeth.
Hey, how are you, Tracy?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks.
So, oh, there we go. Okay, James, is that you that just called in?
It is.
Okay, great. I'm going to rename you. And then for some reason I can't, oh, now I can. Okay, so I've renamed everybody. So Frank, we are good to go.
Okay, I'm going to call us to order. This is the October 19th, 2023 Sex Offender Risk Review Board meeting. It's available on YouTube, and I call this meeting to order. I'd like to welcome any guests tuning in via YouTube. We're going to get, first of all, the approval and adoption of the minutes after I read our mission. Our purpose at SORB is protecting Georgia's children and communities at large by identifying convicted sexual offenders that present the greatest risk of sexually reoffending. It is the board's responsibility to determine the likelihood that a sexual offender will engage in another crime against a victim who is a minor or a dangerous sexual offense. Assessments will be used by the SORB to determine the risk level of the offenders. Offenders are classified as level 1, level 2, or sexually dangerous predator. Can I get a roll call first, Tracy?
Yeah, so I'm going to just call out the individuals that told me they would not be in attendance. Mindy Ackerman, she is sick and was not able to attend. Mandy Ballinger, and then Katie Gropper, Bert Reeves, and Lori Rozier had let me know that they would not be able to attend. So the others, Gerard Moore.
Present.
Sheriff Brown.
Present.
Jerry Bruce.
Present.
James Chapin.
Present.
Matthew Connolly. You're on mute, Matt. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. Robbie Frederick.
Here.
Jim Morton.
Present.
And Frank Mullis, of course.
Present, yes.
Okay, so that gives us 8 people. So we have a quorum in addition to cases that there are recusals.
Okay, all members have received and had an opportunity to review the minutes from the meetings. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on the minutes?
No.
Do I hear a motion that we adopt the minutes?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Frank,
Um,
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. We have people drilling and it's very distracting. I'm not sure how much you all can hear it, but I'm gonna have Destiny go ask them to stop. So just give me 1 second.
Okay.
I apologize. Unfortunately, these walls have no sound barrier. So
Okay, we were looking at reports of officers and standing committees, I believe, and I don't believe there's any. Is that correct?
that's correct.
All right, now we move on to new business. Any new business?
That would be for you guys. Yeah.
Do I hear any new business from any of the members?
I have none.
Okay, all right, we'll move on to Tracy's executive director report.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to share is I had a meeting with the Office of Planning and Budget. For this year, the governor is requesting a 1% reduction. I think I did discuss this during the last board meeting, but I just kind of want to reiterate it. A 1% reduction for next year, actually. And so that will come from our training, which I explained to them how that would negatively impact SOAR because we receive all of our new information regarding risk assessment, any changes to risk assessment through the training that we receive, and then also being able to relay that to you all and training for you all to be able to make the decisions that you make. So I did share that with them. Also discuss the 3%, possible 3% increase, which would allow me to move a part-time clinical evaluator from about 15 hours to 29 hours. And so hopefully, and I explained to them, obviously, the importance of that to add to the completion of cases. They did talk to me also about a possibility of a full-time evaluator position. I'm not sure how that works. Honestly, we rarely get extra funds. And so I'm hoping that this will be different this year. So we will see. John Kelly, who had been my part-time clinical evaluator, and he's funded through CJCC funding, he has resigned because he got a promotion at his full-time job. And so I'm going to be waiting to kind of see about that 3% before I start looking at hiring a person to fill his position. The funds would come partly from CJCC and partly from state if we get that 3%. I did email my OPB representative to find out kind of how that works with 3%. I'm not sure when that would happen, if we even got it. So I'm trying to get some of that information. And then, is there any questions about any of that? Pretty straightforward. The other thing is, so the asset presentation. So Marcus and Marcus Viegel, who is one of the clinical evaluators, he's actually our research and training expert. He has done clinical evaluations as well, and he does some of our reevaluations and some of our more complicated cases. He and I presented at ATSA. I sent you all our PowerPoint, or the handouts for our PowerPoint regarding that presentation. And pretty much it was just to educate people from other states on how we do things, the obstacles we've experienced over the years and how we've addressed those obstacles, and then our goals for the future with adding levels and the reasons for that. Because we really would like to see the goal from the researchers with a quote unquote 5-level process, which is done in the criminal justice field, but can be moved over into the sex offender field as well, to better define those different levels, and seeing that as a national thing versus just a one agency thing. So one of my goals is educating, other states and other countries, not just with us, regarding maybe some of that changing, so we can all be on the same page. So for example, we get a lot of states who have the Adam Walsh Act, where they classify based on conviction alone, not based on risk. And so we might get individuals from, let's say, Florida, who are labeled as a sexually dangerous predator. That means something completely different than how we define a sexually dangerous predator. And so that creates a lot of complications for DCS and the Sheriff's Department in monitoring those individuals and not really knowing their true risk. So that was kind of one of our things. And the turnout was great. We had about 30 people. The conversation was really, really good. The questions were excellent. We met some people from different states that do things similar. Also met some people who had a lot of questions for me on how we do things so that they can do similar things. And so have provided them, the ability to contact me with any questions that they have. And it just went really, really good. And Mindy Ackerman, who is she's on our board here for SOAR, but she's also the president of the Georgia chapter of the Association for the Treatment of Sexual Abusers. We're looking at having a conference with Georgia ATSA and looking at Marcus and I possibly presenting for that ATSA as well, for all the treatment providers, polygraph examiners, and other stakeholders in that process. So it went really good. So it was really kind of exciting. It was really enjoyable. I am going to be presenting at the Sex Offender Registry Officer Conference in November. I present for them almost every single year. This year, they have a lot of new people. There's been some turnover over the last few years, especially with COVID. And so I do different topics related to sex offenders. This year, I'm going to do specifically how SOAR operates, kind of starting again over at the beginning for the new people. So I'm looking forward to that. I always enjoy going there. The next thing is that, our board retreat coming for 2024 is coming up, and it takes a lot of time and planning to make that happen. So I really need to get ideas for locations, keeping in mind that our funds are limited. So places like Savannah would not be an option. So be thinking about that, and also ideas for topics. One topic that I am going to encourage, even if it was just for half a day, which I think that's all we would need, we need to update the bylaws and the rules and procedures, because especially, something as minor as the change in our name from registry to risk, we have to change those things. But there's other things that need to be changed. It just needs to be updated. It hasn't been updated in a while. So that needs to be part of the retreat, and making some changes with all the board members being able to give input regarding that kind of stuff. But if you guys could be thinking about topics you would like, presenters you might like, information you'd like, and start sending those to me, emailing those to me, locations, then I can start getting it started, because usually I start making contacts no later than probably December, start looking at maybe January, beginning of January for those locations and finding out prices and that kind of thing. I also want to kind of put out there, I'm going to stop sharing this so I can see you. I'm also going to put out there the possibility of our December board meeting being in person, which would be December 14th, to kind of make it a holiday gathering in addition to our board meeting, just for everybody to kind of get together. We have 3 new board members. It might be nice for all of us to get together, but I know that people are limited in their ability given their work schedules. So I just kind of want to put it out there and see what y'all thought about that. And if that's a possibility, if you think that might be a good idea and we can get a quorum, then I could start planning that. When I say I mean Kaylin and Destiny and I will start scheduling and figuring that all out. So I want to throw that out there, and then the next board meeting being November 9th.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Any other questions for Tracy?
What is everybody's thoughts on the in-person December meeting?
I was going to bring it up later. I thought it would be nice if we could.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
I'm all in.
Okay, well, that would be great. So I'll start sending out emails to kind of get a little bit of a confirmation, and we'll kind of go from there. So I think that'd be wonderful. We've had them in the past. It's been a while because of COVID and some other things going on. And it's always been really nice to see everybody. So I think that would be great. Does anybody have any ideas right now, as you're thinking about it, for topics for the retreat that you're interested in knowing more about?
Even though we can't get Anna Salter, I think when she appeared and she did her presentation, just the fact that, I mean, of course, she showed videos that she was actually doing the interviews, but the fact that she went from somebody committing the crimes to the interviews in jail, what happens outside, the effect on the family, and how brutal offenders could be towards their victims. Man, if we can get something like that again, because that was like a big eye opener. If we can do it, that'll be perfect.
And I agree. I think she was wonderful. And one topic that I know, I find that the research and the information, like when I go to ASA, one of the things I look for is any kind of presentation on rapists, because there's so much on child molestation, but there's so little on rape. And we get so many rapists in these classifications. And it appears as though the risk assessments underestimate their risk. And so I think like that, and I know Anna had said that she was kind of moving in the direction of violent offenders. So if we can get her, and I'll definitely see kind of what her prices would be, and see where she's headed regarding her research and her interviewing. And if hopefully maybe she could even do something on rapists, or if we can find somebody else that could do something on rapists, if you all are interested in that topic.
I wonder if we got someone with the feds to kind of present how they deal with. I mean, we deal with a lot of state cases. I do deal with, but I would be interested to see what's the difference in how federal cases are viewed versus state cases. That would be something I'd be interested in, just personally.
Can you explain a little bit more? What do you mean by how they're viewed?
Well, I mean, how the feds look at risk versus how the state DOC, Department Board of Prisons, look at their cases.
Okay.
Is a federal case that we're looking at different than a state case when we're looking at the risk reviews? Is there anything any different? I mean, it's just something that, along my lines, I was just curious about.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so y'all, at any time something pops in your head, a thought that you have, just email it to me and I'll start kind of taking note and figuring things out. And that is all that I have that I can think of.
Okay, are we ready to review our cases now?
I believe so.
All right, Tracy, could you give a brief explanation to everyone on the leveling process?
Yes, so what occurs is we receive newly convicted as well as offenders who've moved into our state. And also we get informed by DCS and DOC of those being released from prison. And we also get ordered to classify cases for removal from the registry, which we don't make that decision about removal, but we provide the classification because an individual is supposed to be a level 1 before being considered removal from the registry. That's one of the qualifiers. And our investigators collect all the documentation based on the offender's criminal history, which is not just their sex offense, but any kind of crime that would be related to risk. It then goes to our evaluator, who summarizes that information and creates the risk assessment and a recommendation of risk that goes to the board members. Board members are only aware of the offender's number, their case number. They're not aware of any names to increase objectivity. And that is when we come into the meeting for the board members to either discuss and to vote on those recommendations and possibly make any changes or removals for that. We also have reevaluation cases where an individual is a level 2 or predator, and they can request to be reviewed again if they disagree and they believe they have additional information for us to reconsider. We also, and so you'll find when we go over the reevaluations, you'll see number 2 has a +R. And just for the new board members to know, the +R means that individual was leveled 10 plus years ago, and they have now requested reevaluation. And the law allows for 10 years post classification to request reevaluation, and then every 5 years thereafter for that individual. And that's it.
All right. prior to the meeting, all members of the board received the information to allow them to review all the cases prior to the meeting. Was everyone able to review all of the cases?
Yes, sir.
Anybody, anybody was not? Okay, we'll move forward with the level 1 cases. Are there any recusals for the level 1 cases?
So I'll just share the recusals, and if anybody has any additional to mention, you can do that. Matthew has 2 recusals, which is 15632 and 30611, and he will not be voting on those 2 cases. We still have a quorum regardless. And then James Chafin has a recusal for 23753, and he will not vote on that case. And again, we do have a quorum regardless.
Okay, do any of the members have any questions, comments, or concerns about the level 1 cases?
No.
No.
No, sir.
All right, great. If we could have now a motion to adopt the level 1 cases as presented to the board.
I motion.
Did I
Second.
hear a second? I believe that was Jerry seconded. Okay, Tracy, could I have a roll call?
Yes. Gerard,
Aye.
Sheriff Brown,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
James Chapin,
Aye.
Matthew,
Aye.
Robbie,
Aye.
Jim Morton,
Aye.
Frank.
Aye.
The case is passed.
All right. We'll move on now to the level 2 cases. Are there any recusals for the level 2 cases? I
Yes.
have one, I believe.
Yeah, Matthew has 2, 20393 and 30028, which he will not vote on. And we have we do have a quorum regardless. And then Frank, you have a recusal for 25521, which you will not vote on. And we do have a quorum regardless.
All right. Do any of the members have any questions, comments, concerns about the level 2 cases?
I had a question about 24057, the last one on the most recent list that Tracy sent. I just want to make sure. So my understanding about that is that even though that's a rape case, that because it's a single incident, is that why it's a level 2 rather than a predator case?
What I would recommend is that when there's cases that have questions, for us to be able to review it before the board meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking about it yesterday, and then I sort of forgot about it until we started getting back to these. So I'm sorry about that. It was really just a clarification. I just wanted to make sure that that was the reason it was a level 2, because it was a single incident, which I think is one of the elements of a level 2, right?
I mean, so I'm guessing with him being a level 2, being a single incident offender, that his scores are probably a little bit higher, or he does have some risk factors even to bring him to a 2 with a single incident, because single incident would definitely put him in a lower classification than the SDP.
Right.
So
Okay. That was my only real question.
Okay.
So
are you okay with that, or do you want us to pull it, Jerry?
No, I wanted to be clear about that. I was reviewing the materials from the meeting that you sent, and I think I had that clear, but I just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
So that takes care of my concern. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns about the level 2 cases? Okay, could I get a motion to adopt the level 2 cases?
So moved.
I motion to adopt those level 2 cases.
Okay, Gerard and Jerry.
Second.
Okay, so I have Gerard as first and Sheriff Brown as second. Is that correct?
Yes, that's fine.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay. And you want me to do roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Gerard,
I vote as aye.
Sheriff Brown,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Matthew,
Aye.
Robbie,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye.
The case is passed.
All right, we will move on to the sexually dangerous predator cases. Are there any recusals on the sexually dangerous predator cases?
So we have 2 from Matthew, 19860 and 22661, which he will not vote on, and we do have a quorum regardless. And then 20971, Katie was recused on, but she's not here, so it doesn't affect the voting.
Okay, do any of the members have questions, comments, or concerns about the sexually dangerous predator cases?
No.
All right, do I hear a motion to adopt the sexually dangerous predator cases?
So moved.
That's Jerry. Anyone else for a second?
Second.
That was Robbie.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right,
here, I'm sorry.
no worries. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, Jared, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No questions, Tracy, and my vote is aye.
Sheriff Brown, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators? Uh-oh, we lost Sheriff Brown.
I'm sure he'll call back in. We'll go.
So, yeah, I'll
back
come
around.
back to him. Jerry, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No. My vote is
James, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No.
And your vote?
My vote is aye.
Matthew, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No, my vote is aye.
Robbie, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No questions, aye.
Jim, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No questions, aye.
Frank, any questions or concerns about any of the sexually dangerous predators?
No, and my vote is aye.
So if Sheriff Brown cannot come back on, we will have to remove, let me see, we have 8 people, so that would give us 7 regardless. So actually we have a quorum regardless of his vote. So oh wait, I'm sorry. I think it was 7, that would give it, no, we wouldn't. We would have to remove number 1, number 4. So if he comes on, we'll come back to that. Otherwise, I will remove those 2 cases and put them back on for next month's vote.
Okay. So the vote, other than those cases, the vote carries, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we will move on to the reevaluation cases now. Are there any recusals of the reevaluation cases, Tracy?
There was one with Matthew 23377, so he will not vote on that case. And we would not have a quorum for that case as well.
Okay. Any questions or concerns or comments about the reevaluation cases?
no.
No,
Okay. Tracy, could I get a roll call on the reeval cases?
Did you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's
Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a motion that we accept the reevaluation cases?
So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, who did the second? Was that you, Gerard?
It was.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Motion carries. Now Tracy, could I get a roll call?
Yes, Gerard, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No questions, and my vote is aye.
Jerry, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No, and my vote is aye.
James, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No, and my vote is aye.
Matthew, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No, my vote is aye.
Robbie, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No questions, aye.
Jim, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
no questions, my vote is aye.
And Frank, any questions or concerns about any of the reevaluation cases?
No, and my vote is aye.
So they all pass with the exception of 23377. So just to reiterate, I will be removing SDP cases 19860 and 22661, which will be placed on the November agenda. And then also reevaluation case 23377, which again will be placed on the November agenda.
All right, thank you. Again, I want to thank all of the evaluators and investigators for their hard work this month. Tracy and Kaylin and everybody who helped with the meeting day, and of course, all the members for their time and hard work. We're excited to be moving forward with the Risk Review Board this year. I want to thank Gerard. My surgery went well, and I want to thank Gerard for helping out last month. Anything else, Tracy, before we adjourn?
Not that I can think of. I just appreciate everybody being here and all your input and reading all that stuff. It's a
All right,
lot.
do I hear a motion we adjourn?
So move.
I motion.
Second, any second. There we go. All right, we will see you November 9th.
Hey, everybody, thank
Take
you.
care. Happy Halloween.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.